We are now going to try break down that very in-depth game. 57 minutes long. KT Bullets end up coming away with the win. Let's go back to the beginning. First of all, picks and bans. I know that the Olaf pick in particular was one that Crepper wants to touch on, but what about the rest of the picks and bans? Froggen, you had some strong thoughts about the supports in particular, that Morgana-Leona matchup, the LeBlanc, Gragas, etc.
So I think, first of all, like Fnatic was forced to ban Lulu. We touched on that in the pre-game. Packet doesn't play Lulu. They need to ban it unless they want it on Soaz or Yellow Star. And Yellow Star has only been going for Zyra and Morgana so far. So in the picks and bans, you saw the Elise first pick. Then you saw KTB going with LeBlanc and what was the other pick?
So LeBlanc Kha'Zix, followed by Leona Sivir.
Yeah, so in the second rotation from Fnatic, you already see the LeBlanc. You don't have to secure the Gragas at all. You know KTB they don't play Morgana support, and Fresh was banned. So you could have Leona support against whatever KTB would bring, which would like be Nami, Annie, Sona maybe.
Probably the Zyra maybe coming out as well.
It's like all squeezy supports that you can blow up because they don't play Morgana. So I think if they went for Leona instead, it would have been stronger for them in the game.
Yeah, and of course, because they didn't go for Leona at that time and ended up going for that Morgana, the Olaf last pick there from the KT Bullets, he just ran amok. Fnatic were completely unable to deal with him. We've seen Rekos had to go a full offensive 6-item build, which meant he got popped. And the Olaf just, he really shone. Leopard did a great job.
Yeah, I really want to commend them on how they react again. We see time and time again, their reactions in picks and bans are so good. Renekton is out, which is traditionally used against Shyvana for the early pressure, and then the dive, but I didn't know Olaf would mimic that so well. Olaf had an early CS. You have to remember, all the jungler aggro from Elise, Cyanide on Elise, was drawn to top lane. That in turn led the Sivir Leona lane on bottom, which technically loses, in my opinion, to Lucian Morg tie farm. So Sivir was tie farming. Okay, and then back Sivir to Olaf. In those fights, Sivir ulti allows Olaf to just go in even harder. Olaf didn't even pick up the traditional ghost we usually see on him because he didn't need it. On the hunt provided enough movement speed that Olaf could run flash and just flash on top of the carries. And that's the point Froggen brought up earlier. Offensive zone in turn allows Sivir to save her spell shield just for Gragas barrel, so they couldn't really pop the Sivir. I think both compositions were easily good enough to win the game, and I feel it came down to conceptual play and vision control, but we can touch on that later.
So before we get to the vision control, Froggen, I want you to expand a little bit on how Fnatic handled splitting up versus the Sivir composition. You called them out in it yesterday against Cloud9 where they lost that second game in the best of 3. In this game they did the same thing. They got split up during the mid game, especially during the late game, and KTB just ran them down over and over again.
Yeah, you basically just said what they made as a mistake. But yeah, they need to group. Like Fnatic, they got caught out so many times. Like at the early game, they got a lot from the red buff invade and the Soaz outplaying them super hard on top lane on Shyvana on the dive from Rue and Leopard. So after that, they went to the red buff. They felt really comfortable after that red buff invade because they gained so much out of it. Then when they invaded the next couple of times, they kept getting caught out. They kept like dying 1 for nothing over and over. They barely even got the buffs, I think. So that mindset Fnatic had was just like play aggressive all the time, and that's why they kept getting caught out with the Sivir.
See, and this is what worries me about Fnatic right now. Due to really insane like mechanical plays and a good invade early, they got a lead, but they didn't use that lead. But conceptually, the opposing team still had the better play. The Olaf pushing down on top, leading to dives. Ryu could rotate for a dive. That failed. That's why he got behind the mid. That's why Pekka got rolling. But that should actually never fail in a textbook dive. Even Insec on Kha'Zix could eventually roam top and dive even after the first dive failed. So we saw Olaf being so strong. So the Bullets are playing the game better. They just messed up a few things on a micro level. But on a macro level of strategy, the Bullets are doing better than Fnatic. And once Fnatic actually got that lead, they let it slip. And that's where the vision control point comes in. I really feel Fnatic tunneled one on the Baron control. They should have grouped on the lanes, siege turrets, and then rotate in between those lanes. And as they rotate, drop wards in the enemy jungle. So in spots you don't really want to place wards in usually. And if that would prevent the Bullets from being able to roam and make picks on Fnatic. Fnatic needs to stay together and ward everywhere, but they can't do that alone, so they need to move together.
Well, very, very quickly, we're about minutes away from moving champ select. So Froggen, some closing thoughts?
Yeah, for the next game, I would actually like to see Soaz on a TP instead of something like Shyvana. So something like Trundle maybe, having a TP, and he doesn't really get outscaled by anyone. Because what we have seen from KTB versus Gambit yesterday and from this game, they love to dive top lane. Yesterday they went top 4 or 5 times against Dario and Shyvana. If you have a TP, you can have a lot more impact on the game, even though you're getting dived.
Anything to add to that?
Oh yeah, I want them to target the Kazakhs from Insec. Really recent comfort. Like you have to try something. If you're getting outplayed pretty severely by the Bullets, even though the Bullets aren't even playing perfect yet, then you should really start hitting those comfort picks. Take out Kazakhs.
So let's take a step back just before we do throw over to picks and bans for game 2 now. We've seen the Lee Sin was targeted towards Insec from Fnatic, and we've seen that there was no jungle bans from KT Bullets towards Fnatic. So what that means is Cyanide was an Elise, a comfort pick, and he played phenomenal that game. He had a lot of good picks very early on. Towards the end game, he couldn't offer a whole lot because the insect bond Insec with Kha'Zix simply outscaled him. Do you feel that for KT Bullets, that's also consideration? Maybe take Elise off the table?
They maybe like playing Elise. I think Insec plays a lot of different champions really high level. I did like the Elise on Cyanide, but I think he played really well. I think he's the reason Fnatic got the early lead. And yeah, so he did his job phenomenally, and not only in this game, but in the last games yesterday as well. Cyanide has been playing probably one of the best members of Fnatic right now.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. All right, we will get back to a little bit more discussion about this game in a moment or two. We are jumping into game 2 here. This time around, it will be the KT Bullets on the blue side facing off against Fnatic in the second match of this best of 3. They send you the shoutcasters to take